Hi there, my name's Julia from Bobbins and Buttons. In this week's 5-minute fabric focus video, I'm going to talk about the percentage of stretch of a jersey fabric, what it is and how you find the percentage of stretch and why it's important. So basically, the percentage of stretch is the amount of fabric will stretch to comfortably, and this can be really important when you're making jersey garments. If the pattern you're making does require a certain amount of stretch, or it is affected by stretch, then it should have that information in the pattern, so it's worth looking out for that. And some patterns also have a gauge that you can test the stretch on. So just for an example of that, I've got my Francis legging pattern here, which is a kid's close-fitting legging, so it is important to have a good amount of stretch. So on the back of the pattern I've got information about the percentage of stretch, and I've also got the little gauge along the bottom there. So if, for example, you were going to make leggings and your pattern says to use a fabric with 50% stretch and you chose to make them with 20% stretch, probably one of two things will happen. Either you won't be able to get them on at all because they're just too tight, or you can get them on and you can't bend, or they feel really uncomfortable to wear. So another example of where percentage of stretch is important is my Theodore pattern. And this is a classic sweatshirt style, but because the size range goes from age 1 up to 12 years, younger children have larger heads in proportion to their body. So to keep a crew neck, we need a little bit more stretch in the younger sizes. So I have two different percentage of stretches on this pattern, because the older children, you can use the main garment you can make in something that's a lot less stretchy, but you do need more stretch for the younger children. So another thing that can be a little bit confusing is the content of fabric. So you might have two different fabrics that both have, say, 95% cotton and 5% elastane, but they might have different percentage of stretch. So you can't go on how much elastane is in a fabric as to how stretchy it will be. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to find the percentage of stretch in fabrics, and also I'm going to show you some different fabrics and talk through the content and their stretch percentage as well. But just before I do that, I wanted to say that I have a blog post with some information about this, and in it you can download this free stretch percentage guide for it's a measuring tool basically, which I'll show you how that works now. So to measure the percentage of stretch using the stretch guide, hold the fabric against the unstretched fabric width part of the guide. So you want to find the middle of the fabric, don't use the edge tends to be a little bit more stretchy anyway. So we're going to find the middle somewhere like this, and then hold the fabric at either end of the guide and pull. So you want to be pulling till it feels like it's, well stretched but not overstretched. So this feels comfortable at around about 30. The other way you could do this for a little bit more accuracy is just to put a pin at the beginning and the end of the guide there, and then do the same again. It's a little bit more easy and accurate to see. So there we go, we can see that's around about 30, maybe a little bit more over, and that's comfortably pulling that. So this fabric is 97% cotton and 3% elastane, and it's a French terry. So I just want to show you how to do this with a standard ruler. So 10 centimetres is a good figure to start with, because every 1 centimetre after that will be 10%. So let's just check the percentage on this fabric. So we'll put a pin in at the start and a pin in at the 10 centimetre point, and then we'll pull that, and as you can see that's got a good amount of stretch, around about 60% really. So this fabric is a lighter weight than the French terry. It's 95% cotton and 5% elastane. So let's just have a look at a couple of others to show you different examples. So this fabric is rib, so the construction is different, but this is also 95% cotton and 5% elastane. So let's have a look at how this stretches. So I'm just going to do this one by holding it against the ruler. So there's the relaxed size. You can see it's got 100% stretch. So it's the same, exact same content, but because of the construction of the fabric, it's got a different amount of stretch. So rib is what you would use for neck bands and cuffs and waistbands and things like that. And it's because of the rib construction that makes it super stretchy. So I've just got one last fabric to show you here. And this is Viscose Elastane. So it's 96% viscose and 4% elastane. So let's just check the stretch on that. So we'll hold it at the 10. And you can see that's got a huge amount of stretch. That's going to 80% really. So one last thing that I want to mention about stretch is that fabrics can stretch across the width only, or they can stretch across the width and down the length. So a fabric that stretches across the width only but is rigid in the length will be called a two-way stretch, and a fabric that stretches both directions will be called a four-way stretch. So both these percentage of stretches can be measured in exactly the same way. So what I'll do is I'll add a link below the video for the ruler if you'd like to download that. And I hope you enjoyed that little tutorial. So if you'd like to see more videos, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel.